first time we brought that new thinking that you should not do emergency obstetric care training for 1 week or 2 weeks. You can sort it out within 3-4 days. I mean, people thought we were crazy, absolutely mad. You know, we had the first training, we started talking about it. Within 5 years, you know, the national curriculum was changed, guidelines, everything, and in so many other countries. And today that's the standard. It's built, fed into national curriculum and all of that. So I think that is the way to go. Not to create enough headwinds in segregation. Having said that, just a bit more about the research unit which I lead at the School of Health and Medicine. We have clear objectives. So our unit is called the Emergency Obstetric Care and Quality of Care Unit. And if you can look at our web pages, there are lots of resources available free of charge. You know, training manuals, training videos, webinars recorded there, and we have a lot of impact stories from our beneficiaries in terms of news items, videos, and all. So you can have an idea of who we work with as well, our partners. And you can see all of that. Also past projects, you can see what they're all about. But essentially, you know, our focus is to conduct research in ways to reduce morbidity and mortality. And the focus of improving the quality of care. We know all the research and the science around this, ecological studies over the years. You can do everything to reduce maternal mortality, but to get to a point where if you don't address issues of quality, you're not going to get any more improvement. And that's where we are in many low-resource countries. We want to be able to combine rigorous research with capacity strengthening, and not just capacity strengthening in terms of implementation or service delivery, but also the capacity to conduct research that is country-led and can be used to inform policy. So we focus on the emergency obstetric care, quality of care, obstetric care, clinical monitoring tools, and under obstetric of care, all sorts of methods you can use to audit your approach and create improvements. So what are the objectives of this event? So we've set out under all of our programs, we deliberately have these annual events where we bring our stakeholders together to learn from each other. You cannot say what works in the UK under the National Health Service will work in Tanzania or in Kenya. So if you say that oxytocin will work in prevention of hemorrhage, that is true everywhere. But how does oxytocin get from manufacture to use at the right time of use? It may be context specific. One country doesn't have a good cold chain, the other country has a good cold chain. In one country, because they have a good cold chain from manufacture to use, it means that women are getting the right dose of that drug and they're preventing BPH. Country B, all women are getting BPH, but because of the cold chain is poor, the efficacy of the drug being administered, even though all women are getting it, is suboptimal. So why are you going to have high BPH? So context is everything. Context is important. So it's important that we'll be able to learn from each of these contexts that we work in. So every year since the launch of this program, we've learned something from our partners, and we've tried to put in a new package, a new way of doing things that is slightly different. And again, with that sustainability lens, and we'll be able to talk about two of those new packages during this event. We want to increase awareness of opportunities. So I really like some of the presentations that have come from the countries. So giving us an idea of the scope of implementation now and the opportunities that there are to expand in order to make impact. But if we're not showing the numbers, showing improvements, then I think it becomes very difficult to convince anyone. Program learning and also planning for the future. So we decided to combine our work. So our focus areas remain the same, but this event we're combining outputs from two programs. that are funded from multiple sources. The quality improvement of integrated HIV/TB malaria services for ANC and PNC is funded through the Global Fund from Takeda funding, and then all our work around nursing and midwifery comes from Johnson & Johnson and UNFPA. So just to acknowledge our funders for their trust in us to be able to carry out this work. We already started, so this should have come early, but you've all got this program booklet. Just point out to our visitors, there's some good information about things you can do locally in that booklet. Also, you have the section that has the abstracts that we use here. But importantly, it has a QR code. You scan the QR code, it takes you to our web pages, and you have all copies, electronic copies of all the abstracts. There's some abstracts that are not printed in that document, where you find them through scanning of that QR code. Day 2 will all be about research outputs. So you will hear from a lot of our brilliant PhD students about their work and progress with their work. And for some of them, they've gone very far. They will share some interesting results. Day 3 will all be about planning. We've used a lot of the data we've generated from the countries and interacting with you to come up with a plan for the next 5 years from 2025. So we want to interact with you, to share this plan with you, to get your input. Because like I said, context is everything. If you don't understand the context, you cannot have a successful program. So a brief about the Global Fund program. I will not talk much about the midwifery program because I think we'll cover it in one of the presentations tomorrow. The quality improvement of integrated HIV/TB and malaria services in ANC and PNC, like I said, is Takeda funding through Global Fund. We implement so far there are 3 Takeda countries, Kenya, Nigeria, and Tanzania. Whereas we have other countries we've worked in Togo, Chad, and Nigeria. For those other countries, the funding mechanism is different from internal funding mechanism through Global Fund, whereas Takeda funding is funded centrally, so slightly different approach, but the same objective. Now, under the collaboration with the Global Fund, under Takeda grant, there were 3 main tasks to identify the bottlenecks to provide quality of care. So usually, this is what we'll do in the first 6 months to 4 months. And then we want to adapt the packages for improving quality of care based on understanding those bottlenecks. And then we want to implement those interventions and also evaluate the effectiveness and how efficient they are. So essentially, this is in a nutshell what we're trying to do. So this may look complex, but just draw your attention to. So we have several activities, several increase effective coverage of antenatal care and postnatal care. That means the number of women who are accessing evidence-based interventions. We have healthcare workers who know what to do and they have the right enabling environment to do this. So you can teach somebody how to take the blood pressure correctly, but if the blood pressure machine is broken, it will just tell the woman, yes, you're welcome. I'm supposed to take your blood pressure, however, it's no blood pressure machine. So you can train things like Kingdom Come, it's not going to make any difference, isn't it? So I think healthcare workers need a supportive environment to be able to work. Some of our colleagues from the country have talked about the issue of workload. With a very high workload, it becomes very difficult to work. But I mean, there are interesting ways people have dealt with workload. Do you want all the 1,000 women to come to the clinic at 6 a.m. where the number 800 woman will be seen by 4 p.m. What has she been doing since morning? Do you understand? Can you break them down into 4 groups and they come separately? And you have break in between for the healthcare workers. There are innovative ways which you can address this. Ultimately, you want to employ more people, but I mean, we have to go for government here. Some countries want to start by first removing those who are not qualified from the system, and then re-employing people that are qualified. So Tanzania needs something like that. So there are challenges. But what we are trying to do is that we build the capacity of those ones who are in those service delivery areas to provide quality of care. And we want to measure how much coverage that we're able to achieve. From the data we've analyzed, there's some component of this which we are missing. So we have been able to hit most of the side issues. Some of the bottlenecks, blood pressure machines, screens to make sure there's privacy examination, and all those type of things. For antenatal care, test kits for HB and all that is fantastic. But we've not been able to have any demand side intervention. Okay? So if somebody were to tell the community, engage with the community to say, you know what, facility A, B, C, D, there's some good things happening there. You should go and see, and don't just depend on word of mouth from the woman who came to tell her cousin that facility is good. Have some deliberate community involvement and engagement that has come out also in some representation from the country. So we feel that bit is missing, and that's something we want to work with those who have expertise in that. So enough said, let me move on. So just a big overview. So if you look at these 3 tasks, we're well on track. For those of you who attended the last year, you saw a couple of number here. But I think in all of the countries, even the ones aside that they're well into getting results based on the inputs. So just some numbers there, just to give you an idea of key outputs. So for the Takeda grant, I'm just giving some of this to the Takeda grants now. So 3 countries. We're supporting about 151 facilities, active in all interventions. We're trained, so we are exceeding all the targets for at this stage for all interventions that we're putting in place. Some interventions have been introduced late. They will just started maybe the last quarter. Training of mentors and supervisors, and then training healthcare workers to improve the quality of care. So these are just late things that we've started. Things that we've introduced later on in the project. And then, the last one there, which I wanted to mention, is about evidence generation. So we have routine monitoring and evaluation. Some of the data has been shared so far. But in terms of, hardcore science, we have 3 PhDs ongoing, 1 extra compared to what was expected. So in the next few slides, I'm just going to give you a flavor of some of the impact of our work so far. I'm just going to pick an example from Kenya. I know tomorrow we're talking a lot more about country impact but I just want to give you an idea of some very encouraging results. So in this slide, we're looking at what has happened baseline Q1 and Q2 in Kenya. We're looking at total antenatal care visits in the blue bar. We see that this has jumped up significantly in the supported facilities, maybe plateauing in Q2. And for that very difficult one, which was mentioned by one of our colleagues, postnatal care is always low in the country, very difficult. And you can see that we have started moving this forward, the facilities supported. So if not more can be done there. Apologies, the other slide, the writing is quite small. But here, what you can see again is an upward trend. The proportion of women, in the number of women who are being tested for HB, being tested in the clinics, screened for TB, and screened for malaria. In all of these facilities, what we're seeing is an upward trend. So this is very encouraging. I think this tells us that the investment in building capacity, knowledge, skills, and some of those equipment that they can use to run a point of care test, that these are being used in those facilities. Now I'm going to show you a short video, just about 3 minutes long, which just captures the story, the beneficiary journey. So our aim is to, our direct beneficiaries will be the healthcare workers, the health managers within that health system, but also the women and the new ones who come to this clinic. So I'll just show you a short video from one of our countries. This video comes from Nigeria, so it's a bit complicated here to set up all of this. I hope this is working.
LSTM and some kind of skills that we've not been doing in PSC local, we've improved, we're doing them now, such like respectful maternity care. This training from LSTM has really helped us because it reduced maternal mortality complications and even maternal mortality death. Because malaria is the cause of some complications to the pregnant women who are
Thank you. So that just gives a large number of women interviewed, those ones who were first time, those ones who had given birth previously in other places, attended care. They're comparing that to the sort of services they were receiving in our supported facilities. So it was interesting in some of those accounts, how they had, it was word of mouth. Some other women said, that place they treat you with respect. I don't know if you've noted, the sort of testimonies from those women, the issue of respect. Women want to be treated with respect, and we know from the literature, poor health, poor worker attitude, turn to women away. They will say, I take my chances at home. At least, the TBA will treat me with respect. So I think, to us, this is, a big achievement. So day 2, like I said, is going to focus on implementation of research outputs. We're going to know about progress, from the various PhD students. We probably will hear from somebody in year 3 and then others in year 2, early years in year 2. And the way we designed this, we've got people who are from these countries, you know, to carry out research and working with local universities and supervisors to build capacity. And you can see from the topics, all of these relates to the sort of standards of care that are expected by the WHO. So we're quite grateful for the funding received to support all of these PhDs. So I promise to make it brief. So I think all that is left now that I have really whetting appetite what to expect for the next is to thank all the teams that have been working with us. So we took this picture in Liverpool last year, and here we have team members from all the countries, including the Global Fund, coming to Liverpool, including University. They're not here with us today, but they are online from Milan. And they came and they had a really fantastic time learning from each other. I want to also acknowledge our host here, LSTM Kenya. They've pulled all the stops to organize such an amazing college management and learning event. So I invite all of you to please interact, let's ask questions. You have lots of materials on our website, and lots of colleagues who are leading several pieces of work here. I'm sure they will be happy to share their experience. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Ame, for that presentation. I think that our partners who may be around now have an idea of what we are doing, and I will not repeat just to give us time. We'll hear from our country presentations. So I'm going to now take this opportunity to invite Ryan Mutai. Ryan Mutai is a senior research associate, responsible for Kenya, Tanzania, and Zanzibar. But for this presentation, she's going to give us a presentation about Kenya. Kenya has been implementing this our second year. So I'm sure we'll see the whole range, the professor has mentioned, the whole range of where we are at in terms of the periods implemented and the impact that we have achieved. And also, as you can see, this is really lessons learning in terms of learning from those who are ahead of us. And for those who are also in the other years, I'm sure our different settings provide us with opportunities to learn. So please keep in and let's hear. Welcome to Ryan.
So thank you very much, Lucy. So I'll make the presentation, the programmatic overview for the Kenya aspect of the work. That is the outline of the presentation. This presentation builds on what we've already had since morning. We've heard about the status of ANC, PNC, intrapartum care, and how we are performing as a country. I think our colleague from Ministry already made some reference to some of the statistics that I've been mentioning. But I think for me, just at the outset, I'd just like to say that we all appreciate that in terms of coverage for essential, MNH, whatever, high impact intervention, coverage for most of our countries, especially for us, Kenya, we feel that coverage is really good at this point in time because very few people are really way off, the 5-kilometer distance to healthcare facilities. Maybe there is also financial support in the form of the free maternity services, free primary healthcare. So the barriers to access are getting fewer by the day. But what we need to remember is that unless the quality dimension of the services that are offered is addressed, it's unlikely that we are going to stagnate where we have reached. And we all know that ANC and PNC is really an entry point to the healthcare system. The majority of the clients that visit health facilities come through those two entry points, meaning that it is really an opportune place to implement interventions that can make impact. Also, the WHO say that 16 of the 50 essential interventions for RMCH, 16 of them are to be provided in ANC and another 12 in PNC. So, and they're supposed to be provided as a continuum. Actually, nowadays we say from preconception all the way to the postpartum period. And therefore, it is important that this is really, if 12, about 28 of the essential interventions have been provided within the ANC and PNC, it becomes critical to really look at what exactly happens there. And so we can screen for infectious diseases, and we can also take care of other complications that would routinely happen to pregnant women. So the integration of care, the integration of care during and after pregnancy is key for reducing missed opportunities for service provision. Looking at the DHS Demographic Health Survey 2022, I think most of the countries in the East African region did their KDHS collected data in 2021, and the reports came out in 2022. So it already mentioned that as far as first ANC is concerned, we are at 98%. Those who make more than 4 visits at 66%, and those who receive a PNC checkup within 48 hours was found to be at 72%. In terms of skin deliveries, it's at 89%. And those who delivered in a health facility are 82%. But when you look further, if you take one of those indicators, especially the skin delivery, you see that overall we are at 89% as a country. But as you can see, the deep blue counties, most of that performance is below 60%. So when you see Turkana, it's at 58%, Mandera is 55%, Wajir 57%, Tana River is still 59%. So you can already see that there are regional disparities. So that the average of 89%, if you are just to go by that, you assume that Kenya is doing very well. So it means there's still unfinished business in some of them, in not just a few, but very many counties. This particular program, you know, the Global Fund, Professor has already spoken to how the project is organized. The funding comes from Global Fund. It is a specific grant from Takeda. And the objective is basically to improve the viability and quality of integrated HIV and malaria services provided in ANC and PNC. And of course, the overall objective is that when all this is done, is that the health system will be more robust and more strengthened because of partnerships, because of opportunities to have these interventions integrated in government programs and strategies, and the cross-learning that we get by listening to how this is happening in different countries. You know, we can inform the knowledge around it, and therefore together we can contribute to a sustainable impact. In Kenya, the program is implemented in 3 project counties. We have 47 counties with a population of about 52 million currently. We're just in 3 counties. Of course, somebody in the morning said that perhaps we should be thinking, he was telling Professor, basically we need to up our business development and resource mobilization so that perhaps we can go to many more counties, because as you can see, we are just in 3 dotted places. It was in Gishu County, in Vihiga County, and in Garissa County. Our counties, unlike the Nigerian states, are very small. Most of them have a population of less than 300,000 people, so they are fairly small. So maybe the most is, maybe was in Gishu, how many? What is the population? 200. 1.2 million. Yes, so that is perhaps the biggest. The rest of the counties, in Garissa, I think it could be about 300,000 of them, or maybe, I don't know if it has reached 400. So we are basically working in 3 out of the 47 counties, and in 61 healthcare facilities. There's a mixture of low and high volume facilities, rural and urban mixture. Those facilities, most of them have a high ANC and PNC service coverage, and the burden of HIV, TB, and malaria is marked. And also, there is, in some of those places, we have high maternal and perinatal mortality. So the program interventions are organized as you can see in the graph there, that there are 4 areas of intervention towards this availability and quality of care, and one is to strengthen the capacity to provide integrated ANC and PNC by looking at the in-service skills and drills training for healthcare workers, and there was a facility improvement fund that was basically improvement provided to address some of the basic gaps that were identified during the baseline assessment. The other intervention is on quality of maternal and newborn care, which is really the hallmark of this project. It's the implementation of standards-based audit for quality improvement. And then we have the supportive supervision, mentorship element of the work, and then the monitoring and evaluation and operations research elements of the program. And all these are supposed to contribute to health system system strengthening for better maternal and newborn outcomes. So in terms of what have we done in this project since 2021, when the project was rolled out in Kenya, in Kenya we are in year 2 of the project, and like other places where we've been year 3 or year 4, we are just in year 2 of the project. What has happened is that in terms of in-service skills and drills training, we reviewed the ANC and PNC tools working with the Ministry of Health to align to country context. We say context is key. You cannot successfully implement anything unless you have customized it to the context in which you are working. And as a result, we trained a number of 17 ANC and PNC master principal and master trainers. Many healthcare workers, 214, have been trained using the 4-day face-to-face workshop and a blended learning approach to reach the 214 of them. And the package covered in this ANC PNC training, it is really all the essential components of ANC and PNC with a focus on integration, how to ensure that HIV, TB and malaria are not being left behind. We know those were happening, but as a parallel intervention because of the verticalized programs where they've come from. But now what this project aims to achieve is to get to a situation where these are fully integrated in the ANC and the PNC that happens in each of the facilities. The facility improvement, there was some basic equipment that was procured based on the baseline assessment that was done for all the 61 healthcare facilities. And of course, basic equipment, most of you saw, it was distributed most of last year to all these counties, to Wasingishu, Vihiga, and even Garissa County. And this equipment is supposed to be catalytic. It did not address all the needs of the facilities or actually even of the county. In any case, in every county, there are only 20 facilities that are in the project. So, and in a county, we would have as many as 100 healthcare facilities, meaning that there are still many other facilities who do not benefit from this project. So this was meant to be catalytic, and it's our hope that it will stimulate the system, government and other partners to make a contribution to ensure that the most basic things required in each of the facilities is available to support healthcare services for mothers and children. In terms of the standards-based audits, the standards-based audit, as you said, is the hallmark of this project for quality improvement. What we've done is that Kenya, as a country, has placed quality of care at the center of country action to progress towards universal health coverage and its. So the MOH issued the standards for improving quality of care in health facilities last year, and the project tools have been heavily adopted to that. Adapted to country context and existing policies on quality of care. So far we've trained 16 principal master trainers and 30 master trainers. So 19 healthcare workers have also been trained on QI methodology using the face-to-face approach. And currently another 180 are undergoing and a blended learning approach on standards-based audits. So all the facilities in the project are implementing, and when we come to the results tomorrow, we shall hear more on how the standards-based audit approach is happening in these facilities, and it's making a lot of difference. And we hope that the lessons that we shall draw, the evidence that we shall generate, shall continue to support the ministry and the government of Kenya to take quality of care to the next level. So also under mentorship for ANC and PSA quality improvement, we have trained 29 mentors to really, be the ones who can guide other healthcare workers in the facilities, because we know that it is not every day that people can go for a workshop or a training on a given aspect of work, but they are experienced staff who have a lot of experience by virtue of working for many years and the many courses they have undertaken, and they can be mentors for the young and colleagues just coming into the service or working with them in those respective places. So we have trained 30 mentors to be able to support in, encouraging colleagues, especially their competency. Somebody who is very competent in management can support the other colleagues, look at the protocols and all that, so that the quality of service really comes to the standard that we desire. In terms of the monitoring and evaluation, a baseline assessment of the facilities was done last and completed in 2022. There is also an economic assessment, which the data will be presented this afternoon or tomorrow. So we shall hear more on the effectiveness of the integrated. It's really about measuring the economic assessment looks at estimating the full economic cost of integrating ANC, PNC, LSTM, and HIB into the ANC, PNC spaces. And I think that the findings from that, initial findings from that assessment is really useful for each and every country represented here, because then we can figure out how we can advise government on strengthening the integration. And then for all the healthcare workers who are trained in ANC, PNC, we normally subject them to competency assessment, because most of our trainings are competency based, and it is our desire that at the end of it all, the healthcare workers who have gone through it achieve the competencies necessary to deliver on those services. So for every training, there is standardized testing tools for assessing individuals' knowledge and skills before and after the training in ANC and PNC. And additionally, we also do the OSCEs, or the skills assessment, where the facilitators subject maybe just a random number of the participants in the skills assessment to see whether we are making progress. And all this information we are tracking to see how, throughout the project, how the workers' competencies and skills are improving. We've also we are also engaged in collecting data on applying standards-based audit for quality improvement. For those of you who have seen the manuals, you know the stages of quality improvement, and beyond discussing it as something, giving feedback to a facility following the training, the team is supposed to select the standard to be audited. They are supposed to undertake a baseline assessment of their facility, identify the actions they are going to follow, and then after implementing those actions, they are supposed then to do measurements and see whether they are making progress. And when they achieve their 80%, then they can move on to another standard. So the standards that are being used in the project facilities, they are heavily borrowed from the MNH, the national guidelines issued by the ministry, the standards of improving MNH quality of standard. And therefore, we are just helping to provide an approach on how to implement these guidelines, because one of the things that happens is that in most countries, sometimes we have policies done, we have a strategic document done, and even an action plan for something, but unless it is really taken to the frontline healthcare workers, we find that whatever has been proposed never really happens. And 5 years, 10 years down the line, we are even maybe at the level of reviewing what that document was supposed to achieve, but if it has not been disseminated, it has not been implemented, then it becomes impossible for anybody to determine the value. So for the project, we have come up with a dashboard that tracks the status of how the facilities in the project are implementing these standards-based audits, and we'll be able to share that information in the presentation that will come, and the impact of the project tomorrow. Some of the challenges that we have encountered, as I said, the scope of the project, of course, it is very small. When you're working in 61 facilities in a country with more than 12,000 healthcare facilities, it is small, but it is not too small to generate evidence. So we believe that in as much as 3 counties, 61 facilities may look small, the evidence generated there can transform how we do things in MNH, especially in regards to the quality of care. Some of the challenges also encountered is staff turnover is high in some of the counties. You know, there is the routine, movement of staff. You can train somebody to be the one to do standards-based audit, but if that person moves to the next facility, then that facility is left without perhaps a champion, and therefore it will take time before another person is recruited. There is also persistent lack of key MNH equipment in some of the project facilities. So the small grant